Eagle 98.1 Game Day is on the air.
Presented by Super Chevy, your local Super Chevy dealers.
It's time to talk LSU football on the flagship home of the Tigers. Call 225-499-9898. It's Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Now, live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios, here's Charles Hannegriff and Richard Dixon.
The LSU Tigers opened the 100th season at Tiger Stadium with a 44-21 win over Nicholls State. In the offseason, they did a lot of work to the stadium. The football team needs a lot of work, too. Good evening, everybody. I'm Charles Hannegriff, along with former Tiger Richard Dixon. LSU, playing their Southland Conference neighbors from Thibodaux, were a huge favorite to win this game. Ideally, for a favorite this large, they come out, establish control early, let the underdog know they're overmatched, get out to a lead, put the game away, and then flood the field with reserves in the second half. That did not happen tonight. Although very early it appeared that it might. Though LSU punted on their first possession, they held Nicholls 3 and out, and the snap to the punter sailed into the end zone. The big return by Xavier Thomas after the safety set LSU up with a short field. They quickly cashed that in to make it 9-0. About midway through the first quarter, you thought, well, okay, that's how this one's going to go. But from there, the rest of the half was a defensive disaster for LSU. After losing starting defensive tackle Jacoby and Guillory, the Tigers let Nicholls State go on 2 long touchdown drives of 13 plays apiece, chewing up 159 yards and over 15 minutes of time of possession. 64 of those yards came on the ground, and more than a few of them came right up the middle of that defense where Guillory would have been. The Tigers matched both touchdowns, relying mostly on the pass, as their speed advantage against the Colonel secondary was readily evident. LSU finally got a defensive stop late in the first half, but the Tigers' final drive before the break produced the most nerve-wracking moment of the night, when Garrett Nussmeier limped off the field holding his hamstring. Richard, I don't know what you were thinking right about that time, but when I looked at him limping off the field holding his hamstring, first thing that went through my mind was, gee, I hope he's okay for Ole Miss. I hope he gets back for Ole Miss.
There's no doubt. When he came rolling off to the side, I was thinking the same thing. It looked like a pulled hamstring. When they flipped to the replay, it looked like the the defensive tackle just put a knee straight to the back. It looked like a dead leg to me. And you saw Brian Kelly talk to him on the sideline, I think about 2 drives later, like, hey, are you good? Because he was still limping. But it looked like a dead leg.
Thankfully, that was all that it was. LSU missed a field goal to end the half, and on the second play of the second half, Colin Guggenheim, which is a really cool name, by the way, went 67 yards right up the middle of the Tiger defense, and it was 23-21, and that 100-year-old stadium was full of pissed-off people right about that time.
That's about the time where I got pretty upset. I mean, this is when I get it when you're playing in Nicholls, and they come out hot in the first quarter. I see it being close there, but I want to see dominance in the second quarter, and especially the second half. We're coming out dominating. That kind of screwed me up.
Turned out that that was where the game turned around. Nussmeier started the second half. He beat my Ole Miss deadline by quite a bit, thankfully. Led the Tigers on a touchdown drive to stretch the lead to 9. Nicholls would fumble after a reception to open the next drive. LSU cashed in on the short field for a touchdown. It was 37-21, and the crisis was averted. The Colonels got ambushed in about a 6-play sequence there, and it went from a close game to a 2-score game, and that was that. But it, the rest of the game just kind of played out. LSU took, basically took the clock and started to milk it, and that Nicholls had taken their best shot at that point, and that was that. The identity of this team is starting to take shape. They've got an upper-level quarterback and a large stable of pretty good receivers. I don't know that they've got a Chase or a Jefferson, but they've got a lot of really good receivers. They don't run the football well at all, and at times they just, frankly, quit trying. They only had 8 rushes in the first half. The 2 touchdown drives in the second half that put the game away encompassed 16 plays. 12 of those were passes. The run defense was stout a week ago. It was porous tonight. And frankly, outside of Garrett Nussmeier, Jacoby and Guillory might be the player they can least afford to lose, because when he went out of the game, Nicholls ran right in that A-gap where he would have been. And the guys behind him are nowhere near as good. Guillory's been here for 5 years, and they missed him tonight. I'm not saying that's the only problem they had, but it was a big part of the problem.
It's a huge problem. We're talking about, we came into the season talking about 3 defensive tackles, and we were like, as long as Guillory can stay healthy. I mean, once he went out, you saw the push. They ran straight up the middle all day long. That to me was the most frustrating, because when you want to prove who you are, you want to go out. This is a Nicholls team. Look, they're going to come out and give you your best shot, but you want to prove why you're at LSU and why they're at Nicholls. And when those guys went up front, they got bullied.
They're better on special teams, mostly because the missed field goals aside, because they have a legitimate return threat in Xavier Thomas. But I left this game feeling way more uneasy than I did confident. If you ask me about a football team, any football team, the first thing I want to know is, can they run the football? And the second thing I want to know is, can they stop the run? And those really kind of interchangeable.
Yeah.
And right now I don't have a ton of confidence in LSU's ability to do either one of those things.
No, and that's the biggest problem. When you watched last week, there was a lot of times where the defense showed that they were getting better, and they stopped the run. I think USC had
about 65
yards rushing. They accomplished that. And then we had a couple big runs. John Emery broke one for 39. But tonight was where I wanted to come out and be like, okay, look, show what you were talking about. Show Will Campbell. You came out and said, we're going to run the ball. I'm not hiding it. We're telling you we're going to run the ball. This is a game where you come out and you do that in the first half. You don't play these games in the second half. This is one of the games I always tell people. I get nervous because I don't want to be embarrassed. I want to come out and do everything I can, dominant, prove why I'm here, why you're not here. And then I want to be on the sideline in the second half cheering on the guys that are backing us up.
I think Kelly was embarrassed going to the half.
Oh, no doubt.
He was mad as hell. He took it out on the kicker for,
Yeah, that was a weird sequence. I mean, the way, you got the 10-second runoff, the penalty, then they rushed the kick. I don't know what he was getting onto him for. He was jumping his butt about it, and he's like, well, he got confused with the time. Once they snapped the ball, what are you worried about the time? That was a very weird sequence.
I watched Lacey and Burns make really foolish plays a week ago, and I didn't see Kelly jump there behind, okay? Yeah. I watched Nicholls State run up the middle through a tin horn, and I didn't see him get on any of the defensive tackles, and the kid pushes a 34-yard field goal wide right, and you're going to jump his ass?
Yeah.
Come on, man. Pick somebody else.
That's boiling over at the last second. He's going in there we're going into half this way?
If I list LSU's problems 1 to 75, Ramos is pretty far down the list.
Yeah, he's been pretty consistent.
In fact, he's at the bottom of the list. Listen, I've seen enough of these games that I'm not overly concerned about the outcome of this game nearly as much as I am how you got there. Yeah. I watched the 2012 team. I cite this game all the time. 2012 team was a really good team. They finished 10-2 and should have beat Alabama. They should have been 11-1. And they screwed around with Towson State like nobody. Towson State outgained them, I think, in that game. They ended up winning the game about like they did tonight. I think the score was 38-22 or something like that. So you can have bad games. I never expect the A game against teams like this. But the B game ought to be plenty enough to get you home. And it just looked porous tonight. It looked uninspired, which I get it, all right? Last week, you were in Vegas. Whole world's watching. You lost at the end. You open conference play next week. I know. You're not. I'm not going to get, even with the home opener, I'm not going to get everybody focused 100%. But I shouldn't need it either.
I get what you're saying. Where I disagree is the leaders on the team were embarrassed about losing last week. And maybe this just be me. There's a lot of the guys I play with. But when we came out, not after a loss, if it was a close game, these are the games I wanted to prove why we are dominant, why we were here. And look, I get it. You lose focus. I've got into it with a lot of people. But when I came out, you did not show anybody that you were dominant on the offensive line last week. You didn't show anybody that you were dominant on the defensive line. This is a game okay, look, we lost a close one. Everybody's talking about USC might be good. Let's go prove that we're as good as USC is good. Let's go prove that. Tonight, I don't know if USC is that good.
They are leading Utah State. I think it's 17-0 at the half, or 17-0 near the half. They may score again, but they got a field goal. It's 20-0 at the half against Utah State. I want to give Nicholls credit. They came in here and they played their behinds off. And I think the world of Tim Rebowe as a coach.
No doubt.
He's done a great job down there. They played hard. They played as well as they could, and I thought that was a team with a lot of heart. I want to give them credit. It wasn't all bad. Garrett Nussmeier threw 6 touchdown passes. So
I hate the push pass on the end around counting as a touchdown, or counting as a touchdown pass.
Just because they never did that with you?
No, I would have loved that.
Right. I get it. That's the real fast guys.
The real fast guys. Okay. But now you get to just, instead of hand it off, we're going to toss it up. Right.
Nussmeier is at the top of the reasons that you like this team. I was happy that they got Zy Alexander back tonight.
Yeah.
Moving Sage Ryan back to safety, I think, is a good move. Some of the young players really showed something. I thought Gabe Relaford showed some signs. Deshaun Spears got back there. He got some time at safety. P.J. Woodland got some time.
P.J. Woodland's going to be a good player.
He is. For right now, he just got to deal with the fact that he's about 165 pounds, and he's going to
But he still puts his head in there. He got a tackle for loss tonight, came off the edge and made not a sack, but he got a tackle for loss. He came in there with a big punch on the ball with the fumble. I mean, he was the guy tonight out of anybody on defense that stood out.
I like the Rashad Robinson comparison.
Yeah,
Robinson came in here about the same weight and beat Mike Evans up like nobody's business, who was way bigger than him. And he would get in there and fight you. I think Woodland's going to be an excellent player. Juwan Johnson, I like what I see.
Might be our most explosive offensive player at this point. I mean,
there's a reason that he gained more yards than anybody in the history of Louisiana high school football. And I said on the pregame, in high school when I watched his film, he reminded me at that level a great deal of Chiron Carey. Yeah. And Chiron was a good player for LSU. He never became a star, but he was a really good player for LSU. And I think that Johnson could be that or even better. I like what I saw.
He definitely he made a big difference out of the running back position. He was a guy that flashed. He moved well, caught the ball really well. I mean, for a guy that practiced for 2 days and got in, and he had a couple of different plays to run, he looked like he'd been doing it all camp.
Yeah, you ever see a really good basketball point guard? It looks like the ball's an extension of their hand.
Yeah.
He looks real comfortable with the ball in his hand.
I mean, the way he ran that out route on the touchdown he scored, he didn't look uncomfortable catching it. Like it was just second nature.
499-9898 is the number to call on the LaBerge hotline. We will take your phone calls. LSU wins it tonight by a score of 44-21. This is Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. it's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner
98.1.
Eagle 98.1 game day continues. LSU wins at 44-21, their first win of the 2024 season. 499-9898, the number on the LaBerge hotline. Joshua is in Baton Rouge. Joshua, welcome to the show.
Evening, gentlemen.
How you doing?
Doing great, thank you. Quick question, and then I had a question about defensive line depth. First thing, I've been busy. I know you've been preoccupied, but I didn't quite hear the Notre Dame score anywhere. Can you update me on that real quick?
Yeah.
You're my new favorite.
They lost. they lost. 16-14 was the final, I believe.
I don't know if that upsets you or if you knew about that. I want to make sure you knew.
No, we actually picked Northern Illinois to on the show Friday, not to win, but to keep it within 4 touchdowns. I thought that'd be a letdown for Notre Dame. I didn't think they'd lose the game. I thought there'd be a letdown for USC tonight too, but doesn't look like that's going to happen. They're about to go in again right before the half.
My question is, I said defensive line depth. I'm sorry. I meant to say run blocking. Is there any solution? You know, pass blocking is great, but do y'all see any kind of I know it's hard to change up, but run blocking is stressing people out. I didn't know what y'all thought.
We're just not good at it. I mean, these guys are an elite pass blocking offensive line, but they don't play low. I mean, like the last few years, we haven't had to rely on the run game. We had quarterback run game, and I just don't feel like these guys have worked it a lot. They haven't worked on it. I mean, I thought we would be, but watching this game, these guys don't know how to get good pad level, and they get pushed in the backfield by Nicholls.
How can they not work on the run game?
I think there's a style of working on it. Like when you practice, you're practicing against the scout team. Guys who are 3, 4, 5 on the depth chart, they're going through the motions. But when they go in game time film and guys are going 100%, these guys can't do it. They're just too high. Everybody gets underneath them.
You're telling me the same thing that Gordy told me a week ago, which is that Jaden Daniels made up for a lot of this.
100%.
Because these are the same guys from last year for the most part.
You had 2 years of it where they didn't have to rely on a inside run game. Look, go back and talk about it. When we talked about these games, we had no run game from a running back the last 2 years, and they haven't had to do it. They've had outside reads where the quarterback was pulling it, getting around the edge. Everybody was a sell pass run with the quarterback. They're not good at it.
Okay, but these 2 tackles, I've been told by people who could care less about LSU. These are NFL scouts who just want to go get 2 guys. They'll get them from LSU or Timbuktu. They don't care. They think these guys are really good.
They're great at pass protection.
But to get drafted in the first, but to get drafted in the first round, you got to be able to run block too.
And I think that they have ability. Like, look, I don't know. This is the most frustrating part of it for me because these guys, what I've talked trash about, I've talked to my buddies about. I said we got the best O-line in the country. And Will Arnold, my buddy, right. Will Campbell is just a dog. He's a mean guy. He's going to go out there and bully people, and we don't do it. And like I'm tired of trying to come up with a reason that they'll do it next week. Until they show me they can do it, I don't know that they can.
499-9898 is the number. Donnie is in Broussard. Donnie, welcome to the show. Donnie, go ahead.
Look, okay, what we need to think about, 85 graduate LSU. I believe purple and gold. New Iberia, south of Lafayette here. We just got to remember that every week is just a growing experience. We're not perfect. I think they're trying to establish an identity. My God, look how many freaking freshmen he threw into the game. And we got a lot of talent on this team. Let's just give us patience.
Well, what do you think the identity they're trying to establish is? Because that's kind of been the theme for the week. What do you think that identity is?
Well, it's like, okay, the offensive line, Will Campbell. Come on, man. You probably a top 10 pick in the NFL draft next year. You had 2 penalties false start last week. You had at least 1 this week. I'm like, look, we were voted, I think, the best offensive line returning. I mean, come on. Y'all, and defense, soft coverage, y'all got to stop this run. I don't know what's going on, but it's a maturity process.
Well,
and it's like it will come.
Okay, but when I think maturity, thank you for the call. When I think maturity process, those 4 offensive linemen started before last week's game. 110 D1 games. So give them 8 more after the last 2 weeks. Man, after 118 starts, you are what you are what you are. Maybe at the next level, they go to a camp, they'll be a little bit different. They'll ask them to do some different things. But I'm not. Look, you want to tell me about some of the freshmen? Yeah, I'm willing to wait on them. Trey'Dez Green caught a touchdown pass tonight. The first of what I think will be many. But don't tell me these 4 offensive linemen are going to be different in November than they are now, because they've been here for 3 years.
It is what it is, and go back over the last 3 years. Now, the more I think about it, what type of run game outside the quarterback have we had? It's not there.
Complimentary would be the nicest thing I could say. But we did the post game last year. We never complained about that. If Jaden Daniels rushed for 140, 140 yards or whatever he would end up with. Okay, that's Jaden being Jaden. They don't do the other things because they don't have to do the other things because they got this guy. But I said this last week on the post game. It can't be, well, what's the problem? The problem is, oh, crap, they don't have Jaden. Well, he ain't coming back.
No,
so
to me, it all starts in, look, I love Will Campbell. I think he's going to be great. He's going to be a top 10 pick. But when that comment he made saying, we're going to run the ball, and we're not hiding it, we're going to tell you that's what we're going to do. And then when you look at the last 2 performances, you're like, when are you going to?
No, I hadn't seen it so far. 499-9898 is the number on the LaBerge hotline. Charlie's in Lafayette. Charlie, welcome to the show.
Well, I'm actually driving home from the game, Charlie, but I always like listening to y'all, and what you said about the run blocking is something that Hunt covered last week in his analysis.
Give me credit. I covered it last week too. It was just I was on the West Coast.
Yeah,
I was in Nevada. I was not the coast. I was in Nevada.
You're always on top of things, but it hurts. But I tell you what, I was outside the stadium after the game, and always try to get the players and everything. For what I understand, Jacoby Guillory, it's not an ankle; it's a torn Achilles. I've heard.
Ooh, that's worse.
That's what I was hearing. Now I don't have anything official by that. It's just what I heard.
I'm not gonna jump the gun on it, Charlie. We'll find out soon enough. He went into the tent. He came out. He had an air cast on it. He was in a wheelchair. So I assume that it's not great news. But I'm gonna hold off on making any diagnosis. We'll let Kelly do that.
I think what's going to have to happen is that, because I noticed in the defensive line, Sean Washington was getting stood up and through the gap. When they got Gio Paez in there, it seemed like a lot of that stopped. It was a little bit better, but they're going to have to get Dominic McKinley ready, because he's got a lot of raw talent, but they're going to have these kind of people step up. And in the end, and in the long term, it may end up being, they get experience and it's better because they've got defensive linemen committed, they've got people coming in, and they've got a good defensive line coach. So I have confidence in that. But this year, it's going to be a different situation, and then not being able to, like I said, being able to run the ball effectively like they have, I've just, it's going to be a day-by-day thing, and next week is a big game, and you just got to have to get over there and get a W, and then UCLA, and then you have, South Alabama get the week off and try to turn the season around. I'm not giving up on it, but, I can understand why people are concerned.
Look, I'm not gonna cancel the season 5 days after Labor Day either. Yeah. Okay, so thank you for the call, Charlie. If Guillory is out, Paez starts, on the other side. I thought he held his ground last week.
Yeah, he was okay.
When Suggs got in the game, I thought I wasn't impressed. I thought
we
he
got pushed
slow.
around in the middle.
Wasn't crazy about what I saw to Washington either.
And when you're talking about we're going to have to rely on McKinley and Bro, I mean, when you start talking about relying on freshmen, those are the guys you want to see in the second half. Those are guys you want to talk about getting experience now playing next year.
I left a little bit early. I didn't see McKinley in the fourth quarter.
I didn't see him.
He didn't make the box score. I don't know if he got in the game or not, but if he hasn't cracked this rotation, I'm a touch nervous about how far along he is.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, if he was that much elite in front of anybody, he would be playing.
On the outside, Relaford's playing.
Yeah.
And I think they're at least as good, if not better, on the outside than they are on the inside, especially if Guillory's gone and Relaford, got in there and played some.
It's a little concerning that
actually played really well.
Bro's playing a lot more. He's getting in before McKinley right now.
Yeah. 499-9898 is the number to call. Take a break. Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial properties. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast office products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to
98.1.
Eagle 98.1 Game Day continues from the studios downtown Baton Rouge. LSU wins at 44-21. The LeBears hotlines are open at 499-9898. Ryan is in Arkansas. Ryan, welcome into the show.
Hello.
Hey.
Hey, well, I kind of feel like y'all, I never thought I'd have to see a day where we're questioning and wondering why LSU's not physical up front on either side of the ball and can't run the ball. That's a shocker to me. I don't understand it. The defensive line issue, we went all off season really, and Kelly went on immediately after the spring game when the transfer portal opened. And it was intimate. He was very open about defensive line. And we went out and got a couple, but it just doesn't feel like we're aggressive enough in some areas where, we kind of asked and said to ourselves, and I watched a lot of radio shows, and that was kind of the rumor that everybody was going to worry about all offseason was, well, I hope Kelly knows what he's doing, because if it comes back to bite us in the butt, sure enough, it looks like at the moment, again, it's a long season, but right now, it's bad when Nicholls looks more physical than you at the point of contact and can push to get 4 yards. 4 yards don't sound like a lot, but it is a game of inches. And last week and this week on the offensive side of the ball, we've bragged all offseason, and our players have openly bragged on how they're going to stand people up, and they're just, getting punched in the chin and pushed back for a yard. And I don't know if some of that, I'm kind of like y'all about the running game. I don't know if it's as much. They're not going to get much better between now and December. They've got 3 more months to really make some memories for themselves, like Campbell and Emory Jones, I think. Granted, they stay healthy, which, everybody hopes they do. Some of it's the scheme I don't like last week when it was like 3rd and 2 or 3rd and 1, whatever it was, with 7 minutes left in the game, and we squinched our wide receivers in closer. We're creating our own run fits because in the safeties, and we're putting more corners inside the box when we were already struggling running the ball.
Ah, yes. Now you've hit on something we talked about in the pregame. Ryan, we appreciate it.
I can't stand it.
Well, if you're going to run out of those formations, you better have edge people that can block. Now, they did some. We talked about this in the pregame, that they would probably take a receiver's number and put it on a lineman to help that out. Yeah, Bo Bordelon ended up being the guy. But they didn't do a lot of that early in the game. Like I said, they only ran the ball 8 times in the first half. And then you get to those 2 touchdowns that came back-to-back to open the second half that essentially put the game away. Those were 16 plays for the 2 drives. They threw it 12 and ran it 4. So the bulk of about roughly half of their rushing attempts came after they had put the game away, and they still couldn't run the ball.
Yeah.
You talked about when Durham came in the game, and they gave him 4 carries, and he's fast. Okay, that's not really in dispute. He won the Texas track meet, up and down. Okay, guy's speed merchant. They tried to get him on the outside. He had a lot of company out there, didn't he?
He had a lot of company. He got hit quick. He didn't have time to make a move. To me, like if you're going to give the guy the ball, have confidence in your line to make the block. when they're just pitching it outside, it's like, hey, man, go make a play on your own. There was no confidence in the run game. I feel like they abandoned the run game in the second half, really.
I felt they abandoned the run game in the first half.
Game. Yeah, I mean.
Now, they were scored. I mean, they scored 3 touchdowns in the first half, so I don't want to say, well, now you have to score how I tell you to score, but I'm worried about the balance when you get against somebody that's better than Nicholls State.
I'm not, and that's what I was about to get to. I'm not talking bad about Nicholls State, but this is a game where you go establish your dominance, go prove why you're there, go bully people, and we could not bully Nicholls State's D-line.
No, they could not. 499-9898 is the number. Michael is in New Mexico. Michael, welcome to the show.
Hey, how you guys doing?
All right.
Look, just a simple question. Can we get a LSU coach in there that will not waste a generation talent like Hal Perkins and find out how to put him in situations to be dominant like we know he has? Appreciate you guys.
Hal Perkins is, right at this point, he's just another guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not a bad player. I'm not saying that. He's
a good player.
He's a good player, but we expected him to be a superstar after what we saw his freshman year. I mean, he was a game wrecker as a freshman. Lane Kiffin's quote was, "Man, we got 40." When he was 40 back then,
yeah.
We got 40 off the field. Thank God, And they schemed him off the field a little bit toward the end. He said, "Well, okay, they'll figure out some things to do with him." And last year, they had to move him back. You ended up wasting an entire August worth of practices. This year, there's some run fits in there. He's making tackles, but he's not making big plays. He's not in position.
He's not a game changer.
No, and maybe it was a flash as a freshman, and maybe this is closer to what he is, but I don't think so.
I don't know his whole story, but I know that in this day and age with the transfer portal and NIL, you listen to what players want a little bit more. I mean, players are going to tell you what they want to do and then make a decision on if you're going to allow them to do that or go somewhere. I got a feeling that he wants to be a 3-down linebacker, and that's what he's told the coaches. He wants to do it. They're trying to make it happen, but it's not working. He's not strong enough. When guys get on him, they push him. He doesn't have a stab to where he can throw an offensive guard off of him and make a play. He's got to be fast to it. I mean, where he's best, where I want to see him at, and I talked to T-Bob earlier about it, put him, if you're going to do that, put him in the star position.
Yeah.
Put him where Major Burns is. Let him be a guy that can come off the edge, run around with his hair on fire, and just make plays.
If you're not going to put him on the edge and have him just as a pass rusher, and they were reluctant to do that because of his weight. They didn't think he had enough bulk to do that, and he was kind of a one rush guy. It was one trick pony. The speed guy, and didn't have a whole lot of other moves. I'd hoped that he would develop some other moves, but they moved him inside, so that's out. I see him now, and it's probably too late to do that for him this year, but when he gets to the next level, Jamal Adams was, when he played with the Jets and his first year with Seattle. After that, he got hurt, and he was never the same guy. But he played as a safety basically in the box, what that star position is designed to be. And Adams, I think his first year in Seattle had like 9 sacks out of that position. But technically he was a safety. He was listed as a safety. But he really wasn't. He was more of
an extra linebacker. They can come off the edge, can make a big play, hit somebody coming across the middle. I mean, he's got so much athletic ability that he can be good in space. He's not good when guys get their hands on him.
Because he weighs 225 pounds. And if you're trying to play on the interior,
you got to be strong.
You're playing way bigger people than that. If you get him out there and you put him in that start, and like I said, I think it's too late for that now. I mean, you're 2 games deep. Be a hell of a thing. I mean, you spent the whole spring and the whole August. He's kind of where he is right now. And he's not, like I say, he's not a bad player, but he's not in position to make the big plays.
He's wearing number 7. He's wearing number 7. He's a guy that's supposed to make plays. He's a game wrecker. Is it too late? To me, not really, because I don't like weeks. 40, Wes. God dang it, I can never get that right.
Yeah.
I like 40 and 33 in there. And Greg Penn. Burns, he's an okay player. He struggles in tackling. To me, it's an easy swap it out and roll with it because I don't want 40 coming off the field.
Perkins is better in space and a better tackler than Burns by a lot. Okay, now is he going to be able to play that position at the next level? And because you have to cover some. Adams was never an elite cover guy, but he was so physical about it that he got away with it. And
what people forget, Perkins, when you do that PFF ranking, he was a high-rated coverage guy last year. He covered well. He's very athletic. He's not good inside the box.
That's where he's at. 499-9898 on the LaBerge hotline. Jules is in Abbeville. Jules, welcome into the show.
Well, I have Big and Rich and Charlie tonight. This is very nice. Charles, the question is, did you have Illinois?
Yep. I did. I said it on the pregame show. It was the last scoreboard. Musso asked me about an upset. And I said, well, one of the upsets might be – and that wasn't a big upset. I think they were a field goal underdog. I said, man, they sold out Memorial Stadium, and it's the first time – I made the joke. It's the first time they sold it out since Dick Butkus was playing there, which is an exaggeration, but it has been a long time. And they got embarrassed by Kansas last year, so I thought it was a spot. I got that one right. I got plenty of them wrong. I thought USC was going to struggle tonight too. So I missed that one. I thought Notre Dame would have a letdown. I got that one right. So, but par for a Saturday. I got some right and some wrong.
Yeah, well, I'm happy you got some right. Actually, I didn't get to watch the game because of this DirecTV squabble. And I don't guess I'm going to see many of the games based on what I'm reading. So, but it's obvious just looking at the box score and listening to you guys and checking the score periodically that the rushing game is the exact same thing, like Richard says, that it's been the last 2 years. 70 yards is a total for the team. And thank God they had Daniels last year and the year before that. But and then the defense, based on what y'all are saying, is the same problems that we've seen the last 2 years, again, under Kelly. I'm starting to wonder about whether or not he can, ever get to, not undefeated, but heck, a 2-loss season. It just doesn't look good. It sounds like they've got plenty of talent. I did watch the USC game, of course, but they just don't seem to play as a team. So I don't know what else to say, but I'll keep listening, fellas.
Thank you, Jules. Appreciate it. I don't want it to seem like I'm giving up on them or anything like that. We're trying to point out what we see as problems, deficiencies on the team. They have upgraded the staff. They have upgraded the recruiting. There's some help coming. Yeah. But this roster, as my weekday partner likes to point out, is not where it needs to be.
No,
okay?
we just don't have a lot of superstars on this team right now. I mean, you saw 3 first-rounders leave last year. I don't see them replenishing the way we have in the past.
You got a little bit of a gap there. And the lack of a defensive line coach over a long period certainly hurt them up front there. But these offensive linemen were highly rated guys. All of them. I mean, Jones and Campbell and Dellinger were high-rated guys. And Frazier was, I want to say he was like a top 3 or 4 lineman in the portal when they got him out of FIU. So it's not like these guys are, and DJ Chester was a pretty highly recruited guy too, not as high as the tackles, but it's not like they're getting players that were, 2-star guys or whatever. There's some talent up there. They're just not playing at a level that we thought that they would.
I don't think it's, and I hate going back to it because we relied so much on the QB run game the last 2 years, but I feel like they haven't been asked to do it. I mean, we didn't have it in years past when Logan Diggs came in. We thought he might be the guy. He wasn't great in the run game. It's more of like they haven't been trained to do it. They've relied on the pass game and then the QB run game, and they haven't been just dominant in the typical run game.
You realize how difficult that is for me to accept that they have not been trained to run block. They practice 20 hours. They practice 20 hours a week. They officially 20 hours a week. They spend okay. Thank you. Okay, I was trying to be, nice about this and to stay within the rules. You played. How much time did you spend in the in the training on the practice field, in the weight room, in the film room?
It was 20 hours in the facility a week.
Yeah.
More like 60 hours in the facility a week. They don't count the time that you walk from meeting room to meeting room. That was optional.
These guys are not running the bars, okay? There's too much social media activity. If they weren't putting the hours in, then we would know about it. They are. So it's very difficult for me to accept that they haven't been trained to run block.
That might not be the best word. I mean, they're elite pass blockers. I mean, we've gone through 2 games.
No argument.
He hasn't been knocked to the ground. But when they're asked to be dominant in the run game, they haven't shown me anything that they can do it. So I'm not saying that they're not trained to, or they're not. They're just not doing it.
They're just not.
They're just not. It's not happening, and I haven't seen anything that makes me feel like it's going to happen. We've had this line for 3 years. We haven't ran the ball good with a running back in 3 years.
I'm trying to, counter that with something, but it's true. I mean, they've had periodic, flashes of success. Diggs had a couple of good games last year, and we've seen some flashes. But no, you're right. And Jaden Daniels was a really good football player. 499-9898 is the number to call. It's Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756
98.1.
Eagle 98.1 game day continues. LSU a 44-21 winner over Nicholls State tonight. The LeBears hotline is open. 499-9898 is the number. Darryl is in Shreveport. Darryl, welcome into the show.
Well, thank you, Charlie. Thanks for taking my call. I have a question for you and Richard.
All right.
I want to make a couple of comments first about Harold Perkins, because I think enough has been said about the lack of run blocking tonight. I thought Harold Perkins was a superstar as a freshman. Just put him out on the edge and let him try to find whoever has the ball and tackle him. I think if you stuck him out there now, he could be just as good as he was 2 years ago, or even better. What I thought I saw in real time, and I want y'all to correct me if I'm wrong, on the play where Guggenheim ran straight up the middle untouched, I could have sworn I saw Harold Perkins standing right there in the middle when the play started. He gets past the nose guard or the tackle, and Perkins moved to the left, and then there was nobody in the middle, and he just ran untouched. Now, did I see that wrong, or do y'all recall seeing it that way? That's my question.
I can't remember exactly, but I've seen that scenario happen a few times. Perkins is not a physical player. He wants to play with nobody touching him. He doesn't want to take anybody head on. He wants to take a side tackle, and that's just –
with his speed,
yeah.
I don't blame him.
Yeah, I mean, and so when you say that, I can't remember it exactly, but I've watched enough plays so far to where when people are running right at him, he kind of wants to get to the side.
This would be a good time to tell everybody that we're doing a podcast on Monday with film involved. It'll be on YouTube. The audio will be on.
Can't wait to watch this film tomorrow.
LouisianaSports.net and 1045ESPN.com. We've been doing the podcast for years, but we have added the video component this year, so we're on YouTube. We'll look at that play.
Yeah.
Obviously, a lot. I know he was in there, and somebody took a bad run fit, and Guggenheim was off to the races.
It was close to the same way the last touchdown against the USC game. He was there. He didn't stick his nose in and make the play.
I didn't see the end zone replay.
No.
I might have missed it, but this would be a good time to hey, go look on Monday. We'll have a chance to look at. We'll all watch together.
We'll talk about it.
We'll all watch together. Max is in Baton Rouge. Max, welcome into the show.
Hey, guys. Richard, you said something that got me going on one of my biggest pet peeves, so I just need to bring it up here. Harold Perkins, he's number 7. The number 7 is the biggest joke, and LSU fans need to let it go. Patrick Peterson's one of the best players of all time. He gave it to Tyron, who's one of the best players of all time. They gave it to Fournette, who got it before he was a freshman, which should have killed it then. It went to, what's his name, the most forgettable recruit in the history of LSU athletics. Then every athlete who's had it since has had a worse year after they got it. Delpit, hurt, worse the year after he got it. Keyshawn Butte sucked, focused on gambling, worse the year after he got it. Jamar Chase didn't even put his cleats on the year after he got it. Now we're giving it to offensive linemen. I mean, come on. 18's a little bit better, but we gave that to a freaking kicker 2 years ago. Get over it. LSU is one of the few schools that has enough cool, real traditions. This is just gross. Honestly, it's been a curse. We should get rid of it. Harold Perkins and Will Campbell should be the last ones to wear it.
It's been a curse recently. I'll give you that. I mean, it's something.
This is your question. You were 18. You were an 18.
Look,
you were 82 before you were 18.
I was 82, scored 2 touchdowns in the national championship, and swapped my number. So I mean, I got a lot of people that are mad at me when I swapped my number after that game. Look, to me, it's all about the players. If it means something to the players, if it motivates a player, if it motivates the team to understand why you got that number, I'm all for it. But I do agree with you. The 7 to me, like the 18 is not about being the playmaker on the field. 7 has always been about the best guy on the field, the guy that's going to make the play, the first rounder, the guy that's going to have a great NFL career. And as of late, it has kind of been a curse. I mean, everybody, it's like it puts so much pressure on him to be that guy that it just hasn't happened lately.
I dislike it for a different reason. This is goofy, but this is just me. I associate certain numbers with certain players. When you tell me Dalton Hilliard, I think 21. Okay, just certain guys. When Chase he brought up Chase. Number 1, I think of Chase. Okay, 13, I think of Tommy Hodson. And when you watch the highlights and you see all the guys wearing 7 and all the guys wearing 18, it takes away some of the uniqueness of it. But that's just me watching old highlights. That's just me looking back at old game films because I'm a nerd, and I do that in the summer and sometimes even during the season. I'll go back and look at old games, and I identify certain numbers with certain guys.
Yeah.
Okay, when I see number 3 for LSU, I think about Kevin Falk. And if this tradition would have been here when Kevin Falk would have been here, they would have given Kevin Falk number 7.
Yeah.
So that's why I could do without it. But I got so much respect for guys like you and Hester and all of the 18 and Matt Malk, who I know fairly well, that if it's important to the players, then I'm all for it. But when I watch the games, I like to associate numbers with players. And when they're all the same damn number, it's confusing for me. So that's just me.
I completely get it. I hear that from a lot of people. But for me, as a 19, 20-year-old kid, when Jacob Hester asked me to wear his jersey,
you do it.
I'm doing it. I mean, that's a guy I looked up to. He was a leader on my team. He's one of the best football players I've played with. Just not an elite athlete. Jacob's a great athlete, but he's not an elite athlete. He's just a football player. He's a guy that grinds. And when he told me, I tell people all the time, that decision was made against Kentucky in 07. We're sitting there watching. He's like, look at Jacob Tamme. 18 looks good on a tight end. He goes, I don't want another slap wearing number 18. You're wearing 18 next year. And that's kind of how it got.
And that was that.
I was like, yeah, man, I'll do whatever you want.
Who didn't want you to do it?
Les Miles.
Really?
Les didn't want me to do it at first. They had to talk him into changing it. I had a Hibbett Sports in Ocean Springs, Mississippi, after I scored 2 touchdowns in the national championship, order a crap load of 82 jerseys.
They were not happy with
They're
you.
not very happy with me when I switched to 18.
They make you go buy 1,500.
No, but I never talked to the guy
jerseys.
again, probably. I mean, there was a lot of people not happy about that spent money on 82.
You were the first NIL guy.
Yeah.
You had a deal.
Just didn't get paid for it.
You could have changed the whole system, right?
But for me, when people talk about it, I mean, it's all about the player. I don't give a crap what any fan says or what anybody says. If it means something to you, like for me, I looked up to Jacob. He was a great player. He was a leader on that team. He's an LSU Hall of Famer, in my opinion. When he asked me to do something, I'm going to do it.
When you saw Guggenheim running right up the middle of the field for, was it 67 yards, I think it was,
I thought of Jacob Hester
against Louisiana Tech. Yeah, okay.
That's the first thing I thought of. 100%. When he broke that 1 for 80 against La Tech, I was like, God dang it, that's the same scenario.
Sean is in Baton Rouge. Sean, welcome to the show.
Yeah, Charlie. When LSU plays Florida this year, do you think Napier will still be the coach? And also, Charlie, do you still think Florida is a top 2 job, or do you think the program has slipped?
Well, okay, I think all of those things. I think that, yeah, it's still a top job, and yeah, it has slipped. And no, I don't think that Billy Napier will still be the coach when they get to Tiger Stadium. That schedule. Now, I do think he's going to be able to get it well into the month of October because the teeth of the schedule for them really starts with Georgia. And they got Georgia. I'm doing this out of my head, so I may have them out of order, but it's Georgia, Ole Miss, LSU. Now Florida State doesn't maybe look as good as they did, but there's 5 games at the end of the season that are just going to be murder on them, and they've got 1 or 2 before that. So no, I don't think. I think that the Florida job has always been a top job. In fact, at one point it looked like the top job in the country because Florida is the number 1 state for producing NFL talent, and you are the only Southeastern Conference team in that state. Now, I get that Miami and Florida State have great tradition as well and have had an unbelievable amount of success. But you have a recruiting advantage like no other team in the Southeastern Conference as far as proximity to your campus. This has been a huge, huge calling card for Florida for a long time. Now, Here's why I don't know if it's as good a job as it used to be. What was up until 2021 the number one reason that players went to a college? They went for the ability to play, get to the NFL, proximity to their home. Maybe their girlfriend was going there. They liked the coach. Pick a reason. What's the number one reason that players go to school now? Money. Doesn't matter where it is. LSU, Florida, Texas, USC, you name it. So if Florida is not, and I don't know what their NIL budget is, but that recruiting advantage that they have always had is negated if they're not going to play by the NIL game, because the money's going to rule. It just is. And you can grow up 5 minutes from the University of Florida, and if Florida State or Georgia or Alabama or LSU or whoever offers you more money, 99 out of 100 are out the door. Yeah. I mean, you might get a legacy here and there, but they're out the door. And I don't know if they are as financially committed to this thing as you might think. Spurrier never dominated recruiting. He was a good recruiter, but he could take good players and make them great. Okay? After Spurrier left, the only great recruiter they've had was Urban Meyer. And
I was trying to think the coach before Urban. What was it?
Ron Zook.
Ron Zook got beat by Sylvester Croom.
Ron Zook was actually a decent recruiter. He was just a bad game day coach, okay? Muschamp didn't recruit well. McElwain did not recruit well. Mullen did not recruit well. So when that many coaches in a row are not recruiting well, you have to ask yourself why, because there's players out the yin-yang within 50 miles of that campus. So why can't you recruit better? And of the last 5 of the last 6 coaches since Spurrier have not been great recruiters.
Yeah, I mean,
so why?
Mullen's never been a recruiter. I mean, that was people that they argued about that at Mississippi State. As bad as a fan base at Mississippi State, and like my dad played there, I thought that if he'd have stayed there, he could have been great. Just winning 8 games, everybody's happy.
Good coach, bad recruiter.
But people were mad about recruiting at Mississippi State. When you go to Florida and can't do it. Look, Florida's got so much talent in that area. When you have the right coach, they're going to be good. And right now, I just think it was another bad pick.
5 out of 6? And look, Jeremy Foley, much like people here don't like him because of the whole hurricane flap, was a pretty accomplished athletic director. I mean, he hired plenty of coaches that won, but he hired a couple that didn't either.
Yeah, the Mullen hire to me, I mean, his whole rep was he's a bad recruiter. And bringing him in there, to me, that one didn't make sense.
If at the end of this season they're looking for a new coach, and I think they will be, and they go hire Lane Kiffin, which I think that they will try to do, then look.
It's bad.
He can recruit.
Be really good.
He can recruit.
Yeah.
But now he's recruiting with an elevated budget at Ole Miss. They have put some money into their NIL. I mean, just look at the players that they are bringing in. So if you have an NIL budget now, and I know that rubs people the wrong way because we've watched college football our entire lives one way, and the last 3 years it's something different, and it's here to stay. So if your local kid spurns state U because the other state U 2 states over gave them more money, that's just the way it is now.
And now you're bringing Texas in the SEC, you're bringing Oklahoma, you're bringing oil money into it. Look, I've always been for players getting paid for what they've done on the field. I hate it playing in recruiting. I mean, to me, you're playing Russian roulette. It's gambling at this point.
You caught this on game day? I didn't hear this, but you said that Saban said on game day today that Florida's got $14 million in this roster.
It wasn't today. I heard today that Florida had $14 million in this roster, but Saban said last week when everybody keeps talking about Ohio State's $20 million roster.
Right.
He goes, I don't give a damn. If you give $20 million to the wrong person, you're out of luck.
Well, we see this happen in the one professional sport that doesn't have a salary cap, which is baseball.
Yeah.
The Mets spent more money than anybody last year and finished in last place. So it doesn't guarantee it. But you know what? The teams that don't spend never win.
No.
I mean, Oakland a few years.
You've got to have enough money to gamble.
Yeah. Ooh. You had to use that analogy. Ooh, wow. 499-9898 is the number to call. Eagle 98.1 game day.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency. The light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana.
98.1.
Eagle 98.1 game day continues. LSU wins it tonight by a score 44-21. 499-9898 is the number to call on the LaBerge hotline. Stefan is in Crowley. Stefan, welcome into the show.
Hey, thanks for taking my call, guys. First of all, warn anyone going westbound on I-10 that the Scott and Dusson exit, the interstate's closed. An accident or something there. But
Thank you for the tip.
Made everybody mad.
To get into the season, we talked about our concerns being depth at defensive line, and we talked a lot about secondary. Obviously, that's been a concern for a few years. We haven't talked about it much tonight. Playing ball in high school and all like this, I mean, I played defensive back, and what I see different this year is we seem to be getting our hands on receivers a lot more. Something we I saw in the past we may be in position but weren't playing the ball. It looks like this year we're playing the ball in the air. We're engaging receivers a lot more. I don't know if that's talent levels improved or obviously Corey Raymond's really good at what he does. But can we just talk about the secondary play? And to me, it seems like it's gotten a lot better this year.
Rich?
I agree with you. I think, P.J. Woodland is a pretty dang good cornerback. I think Stamps is pretty good. Are they getting beat? Sometimes, yeah. But I agree with you. It's definitely a lot better this year. They're in position to make a play. My thing is we're not making the plays, and that's where I want to get to the next elite guys. You can be in position all night long. You still got to make a play.
I'm encouraged by Woodland. I'm happy that they got Zy Alexander back in there a little bit tonight. I'm happy that they can move Sadrine back to safety. I think that makes him better back there. I like Spears. I think he's going to be a real player.
Yeah.
I like Jackson. I think those two guys just need a little bit of time. So there's when we came out of camp, I thought, well, up front the pass rush looks a little bit better than what I thought. I still feel that way, even though they didn't get a sack tonight. But Nicholls was getting the ball out of their hands so fast. They knew that they couldn't go into any serious drops. The secondary is kind of a work in progress. It was different in week 2 than it was in week 1. I suspect it'll be different in week 3 than it was in week 2.
Yeah, I mean, to me, the biggest thing we were getting beat on is we were playing outside leverage and they were running slants on us and connecting on those passes. And I'll give a lot of credit to the Nicholls quarterback. I think he started the game 9 for 9 or 8 for 9. He was very accurate, but it's getting better, but there's still room to improve.
499-9898. Robbie is in Baton Rouge. Robbie, welcome into the show.
Is this the Charles Hennigriff program?
Mm-hmm. We should name it
Hi,
that.
Charles.
That'd be an awesome name.
Yeah.
Hi, Charles.
Hey, Robbie.
I've been listening to your radio broadcast for many years. I believe it was WIBR years ago.
That's
you were
right.
on radio.
I was.
And you're about 40, 45, Charles?
Oh, I was about 45 about 8 years ago. So,
Oh,
yeah.
God bless you. God bless you. Well, I'm in my late 80s, and I served our country in Korea.
Thank you for
and
that.
Thank you. I've been watching LSU football for a long time, and it pains me to say that these past 2 weeks have been about as bad as I felt about an LSU football team, and as long as I can remember. Monday morning, my wife Ruth is going to help me compose a letter. I'm informing the Tiger Athletic Foundation that they will not receive another dime from me. I canceled my season ticket. I had to give up my season ticket. The COVID year.
2020.
What year was it?
2020.
And I don't have the stamina and to make it out to the games and such. And I understand that they've spent millions of dollars in so-called improvements in the stadium with these lights and these, this generation now. The worst thing they ever did was when they added those upper decks on the stadium. I think it just ruined the Tiger Stadium that I once knew. But Charlie, if this Brian Kelly continues as he has, and these players, these so-called linemen, I'm just disgusted with the line. I was a lineman in my day, and now I played at about 210 soaking wet, and I know it's a different game than it once was. But this, I long for the day of these hard-nosed. LSU has a history of these tough, the line play. Give me a Nacho Albergamo, God rest his soul. Give me an Eric Andelsek. There's a park named in his honor right outside of Thibodeau. And then I've been to it many times. Eric Andelsek, what a legend. Give me an Alan Faneca coming around the end there, a Nicky Savoy, leading Herb Tyler around the end there. Give me a guy like that. Not this Will Campbell fella. Says he's talking about a fist fight. He's never been in a fist fight, as far as I can tell. And I'm sorry to say it, Charlie, But when I watch him play, I mean, to me, I equate him to these queer Hollywood hairdressers that you have running around all over the place now. You see in the media, and he's about as soft and effeminate, and then not have a backbone.
All right, Robbie. Hey, look, I appreciate the call. We're running, but here's the thing. I'm disappointed in how they played tonight. I was disappointed they lost the game last week. It's not that bad. No. All right. And there's not – it doesn't even matter what your age is, that you are more influenced by things when you're younger, okay? For a long time, okay, the best football player I saw at LSU was Tommy Hudson, okay? Because when I was in high school, he was a quarterback, and he left, his leading passer in the history of the Southeastern Conference when he stopped, okay? And there's been plenty of guys that have passed it up because the game is different now. You always look for, the guys before. Right? I always swore I'd never be, back in my day. But I do it, okay? Everybody does it. You're more influenced by the players that you see when you're growing up or when you're younger. And you always think, man, they just don't do it the way we used to. It's common. It's okay. Yeah. All right. And if you don't want to go to the games anymore, that I understand that. Okay, it's hard. Between the crowd and the parking and the heat or the cold or the rain or whatever, and maybe you don't like the music. I get it. That's okay. But the program's not in that bad a shape. All right. I'm disappointed with what the results have been here the first couple of weeks, but it's not that bad. There's still quite a bit of talent out there. They will play better than this, I'm convinced. They put a lot of money into this coaching staff, and they're all qualified. And they're recruiting at a higher level. They took their lumps in recruiting the last couple of years. Yeah. Okay? I think they've got that rectified now. The Davis and Peoples and Raymond are all back. So don't give up hope, okay, altogether.
Football's changed from that day.
Yeah.
And look, the biggest thing is that everybody from my time to Les Miles' time, everybody talked about how we were outdated. We were old school. We beat people up front.
Yeah.
We've gone to more of a finesse-style offense that puts a lot of points on the board, but we're not running the ball well. There's got to be a balance somewhere in between that, you still want to be able to run the ball. Great teams run the ball. But, we've just become a little bit more finesse.
And this team might have to win with a little bit more finesse. I didn't think so, but apparently there might be. The best player on the team might damn well be the quarterback, okay?
Yeah.
Right now. And I didn't think there's 3 guys that are going to go in the first round of next year's draft, and I don't think any of them are supposed to. And I don't think any of them are playing as well as the quarterback is right now. So that might be the best way to win games for now. But don't give up. Don't give up hope. It ain't that bad. I've covered this team for over 30 years, okay? I've seen it way worse than this.
I will say
way worse than this.
What Nick Saban said on game day today. He said that, out of all the schools, they were talking about the panic mode. He goes, when I watched LSU, he goes, you're not as bad as you think you are.
Right.
You're close.
I did hear that one. Yeah. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back with more Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps are held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing
98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day Stat Check, presented by Luba Workers Comp. Luba Workers Comp, delivering genuine dependability.
All right, here's your yardstick. LSU 24 first downs to 16 for Nicholls State. Total yards 378 for the Tigers, 295 for the Colonels. Passing yards 314 for LSU, 145 for Nicholls. Rushing yards 150 for Nicholls, 64 to LSU. Every now and then we'll say something in pregame. We'll say if you can only see one stat on the stat sheet from after the game, before the game, if I could go see the post-game stat sheet, give me one stat, which one would it be? Well, it's almost always turnovers.
Yeah.
But for me, the second one is usually rushing yards. And if you'd have told me at the end of pregame today that Nicholls was going to outrush LSU 2.5 to 1, I'd have said, "Are you kidding me?" That's what happened.
I mean, that's the most disappointing of this. I mean, we came out worried about it last week. We had a couple big runs, but I wanted to see dominance in the run game, and we didn't get to see it.
Wasn't there. Yards per rush, 3 for LSU. It was 21 carries for 64 yards, 3.9 for the Colonels, 38 for 150. 1 turnover for Nicholls, none for LSU. Time possession, Colonels 31-09, 28-51 for LSU. Third down efficiency, Nicholls 6 of 13. They also were 1 out of 3 on fourth down. LSU was 4 out of 9 on third down and 1 out of 1 on fourth down. Individually, Garrett Nussmeier, 27 to 37, 302 yards, 6 touchdowns, ties the LSU record.
Also had the longest rush of the day.
13 yards. Yeah, that was his longest rush. Yeah, he rushed 2 times for 13 yards. 6 touchdown passes, ties Joe Burrow and Jaden Daniels for the school record. Pat McQuaid for Nicholls, 12 of 16, 113 yards. LSU rushing. Josh Williams and Caleb Jackson had 19 yards apiece. Williams on 4 carries, Jackson on 9. And as Richard said, Nussmeier had 2 carries for 13 yards. Colin Guggenheim tried to promote that name. I think that Colin Guggenheim is about as good a name as there is. 25 carries, 145 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
He'll talk about that the rest of his life.
Wouldn't you?
No doubt.
I mean,
I went into Tiger Stadium. I averaged 5.8 yards a carry. Broke one for 60+.
Yeah.
A hell of a night.
But brought us within 2.
Yeah.
We had Tiger Stadium shook up because they did.
They did.
That's not a lie. LSU leading receivers, C.J. Daniels, 4 catches, 71 yards. Kyron Lacey, 5 for 65, and he caught 3 touchdown passes tonight. Aaron Anderson and Xavier Thomas also caught 5 balls apiece. Anderson, 63 yards. Thomas, 50. Thomas had a touchdown. Mason Taylor, 4 catches for 40 yards. And Juwan Johnson, his first action as a Tiger, he caught 3 balls for 16 yards and a score. Trades Green, his first catch as a Tiger, it went for a 1-yard touchdown. Quincy Brown on the other side, 5 catches for 48 yards for Nicholls. Defensively, LSU led tonight in tackles by Greg Penn. He had 9. Major Burns and Gabe Relaford, who got his first extensive action as a Tiger, each had 6. Whit Weeks had 5, and so did Deshaun Spears in his first extensive action, the Denham Springs product. Eli Ennis with 11 tackles for Nicholls State, and Ethan Lee with 10 for the Colonels. Xavier Thomas, 4 kickoff returns for 114 yards, including the 51-yarder that came after the safety that goes down as a kickoff return. 1 punt return for 6 yards. And the LSU punters punted 4 times combined for an average of 41.8. 2 of the 4 punts got down inside the 20-yard line. That was a big concern in camp. So far through 2 games, they've been okay. They've done a good job of negating the return game on the other side. And while the net average is not, or the gross average is not through the roof, they've done a nice job of pinning the ball inside the 20-yard line. And last week, keeping Branch off the board, with the exception of the 1 kickoff return. It wasn't their fault because they had to do it from the that was a kickoff. It was
Special
from the 20.
teams has been an improvement so far this year.
Yeah, I agree. I think they've done a good job at negating the return game. Thomas is a weapon. He's going to really he's going to bust one at some point. Yeah, he's going to bust one for sure. We're brought to you by Supreme Rice and SupremeRice.com. Try the new parboiled rice that's available now in your Louisiana stores. Great for tailgating, whether you're making red beans or jambalaya, maybe a stew, or later in the season, a gumbo. Make it Supreme Rice. Pick it up at all your AG grocers, all of your Rouses, where we are before the game, just right down the street from the campus, all of your Walmarts, wherever you buy rice. Make it Supreme Rice. Support our Louisiana farmers. The Climate Smart program is talking about reducing methane emissions and water conservation. Supreme Rice been around since the 1930s, so it's the brown, the long grain, the medium grain, the jasmine, or the new parboiled. Make it Supreme Rice. For more information and great recipes, go to SupremeRice.com. Just about everything is finished, including a top 10 team that had to win at the gun. Full scoreboard is next. Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Brandon Hawley here. Wood windows with a lifetime guarantee? ReliefWindows.com.
Eagle 98.1 WTGL and HD1 Baton Rouge.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to
98.1. The Robinson Brothers Ford Lincoln College Football Scoreboard. Robinson Brothers Ford Lincoln on airline under the giant American flag.
All right, we start with games in progress. Arizona State had at one point a 27-3 lead on Mississippi State. Bulldogs have closed 30-23 now, 2 minutes to go. Arizona State playing a 3rd down and 5.
Got one timeout left.
So State's got to get a hold here to get the ball back and have a chance to tie it or win the game. What is Arizona State wearing?
Tampa Bay old school uniforms.
They got the creamsicle pants and jerseys, and they have a cartoon Sun Devil on the helmet.
Game.
Yeah, they just made the first down. So they're I think they
got one timeout and a 2-minute warning though.
Oh, the 2-minute clock stoppage. Did you hear this fiasco? The NFL won't let them call it the 2-minute warning.
Oh, I didn't hear that part.
Yeah, they say it's got to be the 2-minute timeout.
They won't let their minor league system use the same terminology?
That's what I said. I said, college football is saving you guys so much money. How greedy do you have to be to call copyright on 2-minute warning?
Pretty bad.
Okay, so that one is at the 2-minute stoppage, 30-23. What else is in progress? Number 13, USC, 41-0 on Utah State. That's early in the fourth quarter. Trojans have pulled their starters. I'm sitting here going, because that was one of my picks. I thought USC would have a little bit of a letdown. They go to Michigan next. Now, they got a week off next week, but then they go to Michigan. First time since the 50s that they're going to the Big House. They played them in the Rose Bowl 8 times, but it's the first time that they're going up there.
Got a lot of questions with Michigan after this week, too.
Yeah, they're not as good. Miller Moss, 229 yards and a touchdown for USC. Again, that's early in the fourth quarter. Also in the fourth quarter, this is late. Liberty leads New Mexico State 30-24. Aggies have the football with a chance, 1 minute and 5 seconds to go there. Everything else has gone final. This one just went final. Washington State beat Texas Tech 37-16. I didn't see it, but I heard that they gave a very nice tribute to Mike Leach tonight, who coached, of course, at both of those schools. Top 25, number 1, Georgia beat Tennessee Tech 48-3. Carson Beck 5 touchdown passes before calling it an afternoon. Number 2, Ohio State beat Western Michigan 56-0. Quinshon Judkins, 108 yards and 2 touchdowns. Will Howard threw a touchdown pass. Number 3, Texas beat number 10, Michigan 31-12. 3 touchdown passes for Quinn Ewers. Rich, you watched a lot of this game. I watched most of this game as well. This was not as close as 31-12 would indicate. Texas dominated this game.
No, they dominated the whole time. Quinn Ewers played well. Michigan, they replaced 10 of 11 starters on offense, and it shows.
Alabama, number 4 in the country, beat South Florida 42-16. Don't let the margin fool you. In the middle of the fourth quarter, this game was 21-16, Alabama, at which point Kalen DeBoer's house was up on Realtor.com. They got a dozen offers. They scored 3 touchdowns in a row. They took it off of Realtor.com. Everything's okay for another week, but this was closer than that score would indicate. Jalen Milroe, a couple of touchdown passes for the Tide. Northern Illinois pulled a shocker today. They beat number 5 Notre Dame 16-14. Got this letdown factor right after Notre Dame went to College Station last week and won. Northern Illinois, a field goal at the gun to beat the Irish, and they jumped out a 10-7 lead in the first quarter, and defensively they shut Notre Dame down today. I know Notre Dame was a little bit flat, but they took it to them.
No, they didn't. It wasn't a fluke. I mean, they played very well in that game.
I was thinking that Notre Dame would have a letdown, but at no point did I think that they would have that kind of letdown. So, hey, give Northern Illinois credit. That's one you'll remember for a long time. Number 6, Ole Miss, no problem. Middle Tennessee, 52-3 the final. Jackson Dart threw for 377. And what else happened in that game? Henry Parrish with 4 rushing touchdowns for Ole Miss. Number 7, Oregon, in a shootout with Boise State. They get a 25-yard field goal at the gun to win it 37-34. Dylan Gabriel threw a couple of touchdown passes for Oregon. Ashton Jeanty, though, ran for another 192 yards and 3 touchdowns. He had a 70-yard touchdown. This is after going for 262 against Georgia Southern a week ago. Oregon's shaky, man.
Yeah.
This is 2 weeks in a row now. They were shaky in a low-scoring game last week, shaky in a high-scoring game this week. Boise State gave up over 450 yards to Georgia Southern last week. So Oregon, out of all the top 10 teams, right now to me, they look like the shakiest of the shaky.
It just throws me off in this new age of college football. Dylan Gabriel on his 3rd team.
And he's not the only one.
Yeah.
Miami's got a guy in his 9th year.
It's just when people say names now, I think of the first teams, and I'm like, wait, where's the second? They're on the 3rd team at this point.
Gabriel was at Oklahoma last year, and before that was at Central Florida, right?
UCF.
Yeah. Number 8, Penn State had a tussle today. They beat Bowling Green 34-27. You watched most of this. I didn't get a chance to see this game.
Bowling Green looked good starting out. They had a running back that was running all over them. They were gashing them. They looked to be the better team through 3 quarters, but Penn State pulled it out in the 4th.
They led at the half, 24-20. Number 9, Missouri, no problem with Buffalo. They win 38-0. Number 11, Utah beat Baylor 23-12. Number 12, Miami beat Florida A&M 56-9. See, this is how you schedule. You're going to go on play a big non-conference game on the road. You know there's going to be a letdown the following week. If you win, play somebody that you're going to beat handily.
Like Nicholls?
Okay. You got me. There's nothing I can say. You're on your game tonight, man. Number 14, Tennessee blasted number 24, NC State, 51-10. Nico threw a couple of touchdown passes for Tennessee. This one was actually close. Well into the second quarter, it was a one-score game. NC State was inside the 20 going in to tie the score through an 85-yard pick six the other way. All the momentum on Tennessee, and they dominated in the second half. Number 15, Oklahoma escaped. They beat Houston 16-12. This is a Houston team that got demolished by UNLV a week ago. Number 15, Oklahoma holds on for a 4-point victory. Number 16, Oklahoma State beat Arkansas 39-31 in double overtime. I thought the Hogs had it. It was 21-7 Arkansas at the half. Tylen Green, who I thought played really, really well, except for Talon Green, one play today. This is Arkansas's quarterback, threw for 416 yards, but he floated one in the second half. It got returned for a touchdown. Yeah. And it started to swing the momentum a little bit, and Oklahoma State got home in the overtime.
Early on, Arkansas looked
Second
scary.
overtime.
I mean, they were running up and down the field. Bobby Petrino with the new offense in there. The quarterback looked good. They just kind of fell apart at the end.
Green is a problem.
He came from Boise State too, didn't he?
Yeah, because he accounted 416 through the air, another 61 on the ground. Like I said, with the one exception, and it was a big one. Yeah. I mean, it ended up being a pick six. He played really well. He's going to be a problem for LSU. What week is that? Middle of October. Number 17, Kansas State beat Tulane 34-27. This is another one I thought that the home team was going to get there. Tulane, I thought, played really, really well. If you haven't seen the quarterback, Darian Mensah, he played exceptionally well today, except one play, a fumble that turned into a scoop and score. He threw for 342 yards and 2 touchdowns. Tulane had the lead at the half, 20-10. Kansas State tied it. The fourth quarter was back and forth, and that scoop and score ended up being the difference in the ballgame. Tulane was down inside the 25-yard line.
Yeah, I mean, Tulane played good. I was trying to keep up with all that. I'm doing that new YouTube TV with 4 games on at one time. I get really ADHD going back around in circles. But, Tulane and Arkansas were the games I was watching earlier. I talked to you about pregame. They looked really good.
I thought that they were going to win that game. When they were down inside the 25-yard line, I thought if they score here, they're going to win this game. And Kansas State made a play. Give them credit. 2 very well-coached teams, by the way. Number 19, Kansas falls to Illinois, 23-17. First sellout at Memorial Stadium in Champaign-Urbana in, I don't know, a really long time. Illinois goes to 2-0. Number 20, Arizona beat Northern Arizona 22-10. It was Iowa State beat number 21, Iowa 20-19. Iowa State 54-yard field goal at the gun. Well, pretty much at the gun, 5 seconds to go. And had plenty of room. Iowa State scored all 20 of their points in the second half. Number 22, Louisville beat Jacksonville State 49-14. It was Syracuse upending number 23, Georgia Tech 31-28. Watched a lot of this game. Kyle McCord, the Ohio State transfer, looked fantastic. Yeah. Threw for 381 yards and 4 touchdowns. I'm not sure Will Howard's better than him.
No, I mean, not after what you saw today.
No, he looked fantastic. He looked like a pro quarterback today, and Syracuse gets the win. Number 25, Clemson beat App State 66-20. Cole Klubnik threw 5 touchdown passes for the Tigers. Minnesota shut out Rhode Island 48-0. It was Rutgers over Akron 49-17. Pittsburgh beat Cincinnati 28-27. UConn beat Merrimack 63-17. Memphis over Troy 38-17. Army beat Florida Atlantic 24-7. It was A&M over McNeese 52-10. Ball State beat Missouri State 42-34. UNLV over Utah Tech 72-14. Cal beat Auburn 21-14. Remember earlier when I asked you what's the most important stat if you can look ahead?
Rushing yards.
Yeah, before
turnovers.
5-0. Auburn 5 turnovers. Cal no turnovers. That will make a difference. South Carolina beat Kentucky 31-6. Rich, you watched a lot of this game too. This was a bizarre box score. I didn't have the game on when we were doing pregame. I looked down. South Carolina is winning the game. I think it was 24-6, and Kentucky had thrown the ball in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And Kentucky had thrown the ball 10 times and completed 3 passes. They had run the ball like 4 times as much as they had thrown it, and they were down 3 scores.
I think at one point they ran like 13, 14 runs in a row. He had absolutely zero confidence in the pass game, and he looked flustered when. To me, I told you when I walked in here, when he was interviewed at half, he said, "I'm embarrassed."
Yeah.
It's never a good sign to hear from your coach.
Brock Vandegrift, who took over as their starting quarterback, was a 5-star that went to Georgia. Couldn't crack the lineup there. I thought he might be another in a line of those Georgia transfer quarterbacks that excelled somewhere else, like Jacob Eason or Justin Fields. No, he ain't got it. Michigan State beat Maryland 27-24. That was another field goal at the gun. Washington beat Eastern Michigan 30-9. Wisconsin over South Dakota 27-13. I ain't turning down any free publicity for LSU, okay? Game day's going to Columbia, South Carolina next week. I thought it was a shoo-in when I saw Alabama at Wisconsin.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not somewhere that Alabama normally goes.
That was a shocker when I was driving over there.
And it's 2-2-0 teams. I mean, Alabama's a top 5 team. Wisconsin's not ranked right now, but they're 2-0. I thought that's where they'd be going. They're going to Columbia, so good for LSU and South Carolina. Toledo beat UMass 38-23. Boston College over Duquesne 56-0. North Carolina beat Charlotte 38-20. Idaho over Wyoming 17-13. Navy beat Temple 38-11. Virginia Tech bounced back. They beat Marshall 31-14. West Virginia over Albany 49-14. Texas State over UTSA 49-10. Florida International over Central Michigan 52-16. It was East Carolina over Old Dominion 20-14. Ohio beat South Alabama 27-20. Florida beat Samford 45-7. DJ Lagway, the high recruit, starting in place of Graham Mertz, who is out with a concussion. He threw for 456 yards and 3 touchdowns. Coastal Carolina beat William and Mary 40-21. Stanford over Cal Poly 41-7. Virginia nipped Wake Forest 31-30. UL Lafayette over Kennesaw State 34-10. San Jose State over Air Force 17-7. Georgia Southern over Nevada 20-17. Colorado State beat Northern Colorado 38-17. Some of these teams need to start taking breaks, man. I'm out of music. Vanderbilt beat Alcorn 55-0. UCF over Sam Houston 45-14. Rice over Texas Southern 69-7. Southern Miss beat Southeastern Louisiana 35-10. Nebraska over Colorado 28-10. Shadur Sanders threw for 244 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. TCU beat Long Island 45-0. Washington State, well, okay, we've circled back around. That game went final earlier. Oregon State shut out San Diego State 21-0. And Fresno State beat Sacramento State 46-30. And that is your college football scoreboard. Some of these teams need to start taking buys, or we need to lengthen the music bed, one of those two. Game Balls is next. Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps are held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency. The light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's
98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Game Balls. Presented by WCK Foundation Repair. WCK Foundation Repair. Support your home team. WCK Foundation Repair.
All right, you first.
I'm going with Xavier Thomas, 50 yards in the receptions and another 120 from the return game, which is something we've all been wanting to see.
Yeah, he only had one chance at a punt return, so the rest of them were kick returns. But you're right. Very nice day for him. I got to give Garrett Nussmeier a game ball. I mean, he threw 6 touchdown passes.
Yeah.
It's a school record and all that stuff. I mean, come on.
Tie a school record? I think Burrow did it once.
He tied. Yeah. Burrow did it twice. Actually, and Daniels did it once. So I'm gonna go with him. And you know, I had a couple of different guys on defense. I loved what I saw out of Deshaun Spears early. I liked Gabe Relaford. I liked P.J. Woodland. But how about a welcome back to Zy Alexander?
No doubt.
Back off the ACL. It's been almost a year.
We were told he might play some special teams, but seeing him get back into the corner position was a
welcome sight.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, we're hoping for more out of that. So those are our game balls. LSU and South Carolina next week. It will be an early start. We'll tell you about that setup the week we come back and wrap things up. Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana.
98.1.
Eagle 98.1 game day, wrapping up. LSU a winner tonight, 44-21. Tomorrow, we'll be doing Football Sunday from the Beau Rivage. You can check us out on ESPN Radio from 10 until noon. And then on Monday, Brian Kelly press conference as a part of the Live at Lunch show. That'll be at, 11:30 on Monday. Coach's show regular time on Thursday night. And then next week, we'll be doing an abbreviated pregame and extended postgame. We'll be on the air at 7 a.m. next Saturday morning as LSU gets ready for South Carolina. Game in Columbia, and ESPN Game Day will be there. Final score, once again, LSU wins it by a score of 44-21. For Richard Dixon, for Michael and Cassie, and all of us here at the flagship, I'm Charles Hanniger saying thank you and good evening. It's been Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Protect your home with dependable roof repair and service. GarciaDidMyRoof.com.
WTGL and HD1 Baton Rouge.